Okay. Clocks and their impact on music scheduling with classical music. With your friend, Ryan.
Thanks, Drew. So, can you help me a little bit here on the computer? I think the biggest unsolved issue we have in MusicMaster right now for classical stations is the timing issue. And I think someone in the room who doesn't have timing issues in classical music and MusicMaster? No timing issues? Okay, you explain us how you do it. Okay, so no, we know that, and Joe mentioned it before. We're working constantly on exactly that problem. But I also saw on the different papers we collected that this is a pretty common issue. So in the clocks we have different possibilities to get to the problems, bottom and try to solve stuff. Is anybody using format lists? Bettina will talk about that because she's using this heavily, and maybe that's an idea for you too. You're all using hour timing, segment timings. How is your categories set up? Do you set up categories by style, by length, by genre? What is, for example, your data set? Is it all of that? Oh, that's a great mix.
Yeah, I mean, you mean just in terms of the timing question, or just
What
in
categories? Because
Oh, what
lots of
categories?
are
Yeah, our categories are set up. We have kind of a multi-tier system among categories. So we have a sort of 5 categories from our core repertoire. That's heavy rotation and all of that for our locally programmed broadcast. And each of those categories contains metadata records for repertoire for certain lengths of piece.
Yeah. Okay.
So
it's a mix of
yeah, yeah.
Same with you?
We are just starting now.
Okay, but this is a common thing. It's a mix of categories, genres, and timing. So a lot of stations have their, as we see here, short, long, to just be able to predict what's happening later a little better. Is anybody using manual assist scheduling? Okay, I think this is maybe one of the reasons why you don't have a timing issue, because you fix the problem when it occurs. What's a big problem for stations is that they, at least the one who schedule automatically, most of the classical radio stations all over the world do 70 to 80% manual scheduling. So that's pretty much what it is. So we have some stations who schedule a little more automatically. Bettina does more automatic scheduling. Miriam, they do less automatic scheduling. The mixture of a good clock, hour timings, and manual assist can give you a good timing hour. What you should not do is let the system schedule and then the last song should fill the hour perfectly. This will be not the most musical result. Will not be the most musical result, because music should not be programmed on timing. So timing is something we have to somehow determine. So if you go into the clock, let's say, do we have a clock with some hour timings in there? So here we give the system actually in an hour where we have predicted 53 to 36 minutes. Now, the prediction here is already a little misleading, because what is long and what is short? So you have to know your repertoire pretty much to know what is the real average. Because what we do in the clocks, and where you have to be careful when you do these clocks, what is your real average song that you play? What it calculates here is just the average of the category. So, but if you tend, for example, you play more even in the short category, the shorter stuff of the short, then this can be totally wrong. If you tend to play more the longer stuff of the long categories, you might be wrong. So the prediction here is really difficult to follow. That's why I would generally give a little more variety here in the hour timing, or even use a segment timing in the middle of the hour, to not force MusicMaster to just work on the last position that it schedules. You know, if you have to consider, what do we have? We have categories, we have average times of the categories, we have the pass order of the scheduling, which category is scheduled when. So now what do we do here? Let me show the pass order, please, on that. So, well, in this case, we scheduled Christmas first. This is a little early now, but we scheduled the high rotation short songs first. So if it fills all the short stuff, there might be not a lot of chances to play some long things. So we have to consider this when we build the clocks and we build our schedule order. And for example, if you tend to play in the evening longer things than in the morning, you can work with two different schedule orders, pass orders. We can go to advanced, and here's only one level. So the whole day would be actually scheduled in this order. If we pass now to, let's say, a level 2 for the evening program, or for the afternoon program, whatever, we do it a level 2, and now we can change the pass order. And you can say, no, prefer the long things, prefer my long categories. And you will get, with the same category content, you will get a different sound, and you will get a different timing. So this is a very, very powerful, and you can say, okay, on the weekend, people have even more time, or probably like to listen to longer stuff, to even more difficult stuff to listen. You create another level. We can create up to 9 levels. So the pass order has a very strong effect on what is really on the air. And so that's why. What you have to see, look at your categories. Don't use the average. If you have rough categories, try to find out what is the majority of your songs. You can sort them by runtime, and then you know how many songs, what is in the library analysis. You can go into your category, we do a library analysis, and we see, okay, I have actually more songs in the 4 to 6 minutes than anything else. So we know, okay, there's a good chance that it plays a lot of that songs. We can go into the library and do a runtime analysis anytime. And it finds out, okay, what is our highest percentage? It's pretty even here. Chill did a good job, evenly. Sometimes this looks very different, you know, they have really chunk of the same and then a few of the others. Okay, category average time is totally important for the calculations. Next thing is, are you working with migrating positions? People working with migrating positions, besides no migrating positions? Another good way. If we go into a migrating position, this gives MusicMaster a chance to choose from these categories. And he's testing more songs. He's testing a bigger variety of songs. And you say, okay, on this position, it could be, if it's possible, maybe a long song would fit better. You have the chance that it finds one. And in version 6, we even optimized our migrating positions to make them even more precise for your needs. So migrating position, give them more choices on certain points where you know it's difficult, where you get a lot of unscheduled positions. Try a migrating position in the middle, and you will see the difference. Next thing I could recommend is use segment timings. Give him a segment after like half an hour after position 6, for example. You add a little segment timing and tell this element should burn between 28 and 32. And we make this later exactly, and then we make this segment timing later as a breakable rule. So what it does, MusicMaster already tries to schedule in between 28 and 32 minutes in the first segment. So it doesn't put all the responsibility right to the end or to the last song in this pass order. So this can milden your problem with the timing.
Just one thing.
This could be in the next hour, and that's the cool thing, which I just want to add. You can do this across hours, which can help us with our long songs, which are more than 60 minutes, more than 70 minutes, because you can put this across into the next clock. Be careful, these clocks have to be then also programmed in your clock grid in a way that we know where the segment beginning is and where the segment end is. The end of segment, MusicMaster creates automatically wherever you put the next segment element in. So you will always have the beginning of the segment and the end of the segment, but you can have it across the hour. On top of that, you can have your hour marker, our timing marker, which I would also set a little more liberal than this one, because it's very uncertain that you get an hour between 59 and 60 minutes, if it's musically right. So I would give him a little more choice and then rather erase a song or, change a song. There is actually, and this is the bad part of this, there is no perfect answer I can give you to make always exactly perfect 60 minutes in a perfect sounding classical station at the moment. The same is when it comes to pieces which go across 99 minutes. We usually use a second runtime field, which is a text field which we create, which we use to calculate the time for the longer pieces. But if you look at migrating positions, compo positions, and the segment timing, our timing, don't make the segment timing an unbreakable rule. Make it a breakable rule so it can vary, and it will show you there is a problem. You have a good chance to get a good result.